Trail talk time. Out on this beautiful trail, flowing with the river. Gorgeous day out. And we've got the equinox upon us. The fall equinox is tomorrow, the 23rd. And this is such a huge time right now for us in the northern hemisphere, for this shift to start taking place. And I think it's good to be prepared for the shift so that we're able to utilize this time to really benefit as much as we can from this great shift. As the seasons are changing, we see all these beautiful changes in nature. And for me, the number one thing through any great shift like this is to really connect with nature. Right? Nature will naturally teach us how to shift in the best way. It will guide us. You know, the planet has such an innate intelligence to it. Through anything that goes on with the planet, all of these energies bombarding the planet all the time, it continually uses it all in an intelligent way. It continues to thrive and shift. It knows how to stay healthy no matter what blows are dealt to it. And so when we are out in nature, really connecting to the earth, then we're naturally shifting with her. It makes it that much easier to go through these shifts with a lot more ease and comfort, because especially at times like this, a lot of us might feel a little bit out of whack, a little over emotional sometimes, or just out of sync, maybe not feeling like ourselves. It might affect us, some of us more on a physical level. A lot of people might feel they have trouble getting to sleep, they feel restless, or they'll feel really tired and they'll have to sleep more. It all depends the person, but they're all just growing pains, right? When there's a shift going on, it naturally has a bit of unsettlement because it's unsettling us from our patterns, our habits that we have. Because naturally we have to continue to grow and evolve in order to stay alive and thrive and stay healthy. We can't just continue to do all the same things throughout our whole life. So life will force us into change whether we like it or not. The shifts will continue to happen, but we can either go along with the flow or we can reject it and resist it. And we all know it feels better to go along with the flow and to accept these changes. So I think another important thing is to just be open and receptive to a new change in your life. And one great way to do that is to meditate, to give yourself some type of practice to open yourself up energetically to get out of your thinking brain, your thinking mind so much, so that you can get into that space of silence. And in this space, we're more receptive, and we can now start to hear little messages and start to pick up transmissions, or what they call like downloads, energetic downloads. Because if there's too much clutter in our mind, too much chatter, then we aren't going to be able to hear these messages and receive the guidance that we need to show us what's best for us coming up in our lives. So it's important to really stay receptive. And I think it's a good time to take account of things that have been happening throughout the year coming up to this point. They call this like the harvest, right? This is a time for plants to be harvested. So it's a good time to really think about all that we've been planting up to this point within our inner soil, right? And give ourselves some gratitude, you know? Think about all the good things that you've accomplished since like springtime. Maybe even just subtle little shifts that you've made, little changes or improvements. And start to congratulate yourself for how far you've come. Even if they're just internal changes, changes in the mindset, changes in your perception. These little things can go a long way. I think it's important for us to really give ourselves the credit that we deserve sometimes. We don't have to wait for other people to notice good things that we're doing in our life, helpful things. We can give ourselves that pat on the back and say, you know what, we're doing just great. And if there's times that we feel that we are regretting, or we're carrying a negative energy or a negative charge from some situation or pattern or habit that's been going on in our lives, then it's good to be gentle with ourselves, right? It's good to allow ourselves to make these so-called mistakes and really learn from them, because that's what they're there for. You know, we can see sometimes we might just be having like a bad day, and there's a momentum to it that continues on, and by the end of the day we might feel kind of drained, we might feel lethargic, or feel like, wow, that was just not the best of days. But we have to be able to accept that and allow that to happen sometimes, and to say, well, what can I learn from this situation, right? What can I learn from the habits that I've carried on? Maybe it's just old habits that I'm clinging to from my past, right? Because naturally we truly want to keep shifting, but our ego wants to keep holding on so tight to these old patterns. The ego will keep us in fear and keep us stuck in these old modalities of living. And so we must transcend that clinging and start to release these old habits, these old beliefs that we have. And this will open up space for something new to come about in our life. You know, I was watching this video This guy was talking about the equinox and about things in his life that he's been carrying. And one thing that he's had was this fear of him getting sick, like getting cancer and dying. And he doesn't know exactly what it stems from, right? Because he doesn't live an unhealthy life. He lives a super duper healthy life. He's very health conscious and oriented, and he doesn't have any type of family history with cancer or anything like that. So some things that we start to cling to and we have within our energy field or our mind, and they may not be serving us anymore, we can simply see sometimes that they're coming from somewhere or someone else, and we don't necessarily have to hold so tightly to these beliefs that we have or these ideas that are holding us back. And so it's good to trace things back to their origin if we can. And for his example, it's like he realizes that this may be coming from something from the past, like ancestral energy that's carried on through the DNA, or perhaps a past life, you know, if you believe in past lives, or something from the collective energy that he's taken on board. But he realizes that he doesn't have to hold on to that fear. And these times of shift are a great time to be able to release all of these energies that are holding us back and keeping us in that state of fear. You know, the planet is just ripe right now for this beautiful energetic shift within us as the whole planet shifts. And so it's good to just be aware of where you're at right now and start to think about, well, if I envision myself in the future in a scenario or a life that I really love to be living, what do I need to get rid of right now that's not in alignment with that vision that I have, right? And again, being gentle with ourselves, not seeing it as anything is wrong with you. It's just there's a time and place for everything, and sometimes you just have to know when it's time to go ahead and move on from certain patterns that we're living and just simply drop any weight that we're not carrying that we don't need to be carrying anymore. And it really can be as simple as that. Again, for myself, I feel when I'm out in nature, this is already naturally happening. And we can also consciously release things and say, you know what, I release anything that's no longer serving me in my life, and all of these fears that I don't need to be holding on to anymore. I release them to the earth. For the earth can take on any of these energies and it's not going to affect it negatively. It knows just what to do with this energy. And we can ground ourselves into the earth to really connect through the bare feet, through the soles of the feet, right? The soles. It's funny how words can show you different meanings, right? The soul connection. We can build a stronger energetic connection through the earth by walking with our bare feet on the earth and connecting, putting our bare hands on the trees, and asking for guidance from nature, communicating and saying, please allow me to shift with you at this time, with this beautiful planet, with all of these wonderful plants and animals and all the beings on the planet. Allow us to shift together in a positive way, in a healthy way. And allow this shift to be graceful as we release these things, which might be hard, right? We get so used to having certain patterns in our life. We get these comfort zones, and it can be really tough to release them and bring about change, but it's always worth it. It's always worth that little extra bit of self-work that we can do for ourselves. You know, that energy we put in towards it, that time and focus, it all comes back, right? And now is a beautiful time to start reaping this beautiful energy and reaping the abundance that's within us already, that we may have been neglecting or forgotten about with our limiting beliefs. Because we truly are infinite. We truly are limitless beings. So we can begin to now extract these fruits from within us, from our inner tree, and enjoy the wonderful pleasures of it, and start to raise our vibration higher during this time of shift and feel a lot lighter. Just as the leaves are shaking off the trees are shaking off their leaves, getting lighter and freeing up this space for another cycle to begin and to happen. So it's a beautiful time. It's an exciting time. And so I just want to wish everybody a happy fall equinox. Hope you get a chance to get into nature and really connect and vibe. And it is important to have some time for yourself for all of these things, these times of reflection and connection in nature and meditation and everything. But it's also a great time to learn about teamwork and connect and find some sense of unity or community with people in your life, because we're not just doing it all alone. We've never done anything all alone. So it's also a great time to share in these moments with good people in our lives, and we can all help each other to grow that much more, right? Sometimes just one other person's perspective can totally open something up within you and give you this key to a door that may have been closed. So that's another part of being open to receiving, is to realizing that everyone and everything has a gift for us to give. They all have something that's of value. And if we can see the value in everyone and everything, then we can start to really vibe with that beauty that they have within them, and the beauty that's all around us all the time. And this is really going to bring more beauty in our life, right? And really enrich our lives and our experience here, and make us feel like this is a life worth living all the time. Because life is meant to be enjoyed, even though there are many challenges and there's going to be turmoil. It's all in the way that we look at all of those moments. We can see them as opportunities, right? We can see every moment as a new opportunity to experience something beautiful and to grow from the experience. So yeah, that's all I want to share for today. Hope everyone has an amazing equinox. Peace and limitless love.